An interracial couple was evicted from an RV park that they had just started living in simply because of the fact that they were interracial. Now, this is a married couple, Erica Flores Dunahoo and Stanley Hoskins. Apparently, when they had signed the lease for this RV park, the landlord did not know that they were an interracial couple. But as soon as he found out, well, then he decided he couldn't have it and they needed to move. Okay, this is happening in Mississippi in 2016. This is not a story from the 50s or the 60s. Now, Gene Baker told the Clarion-Ledger that he asked Erica Flores Dunahoo and her African-American husband, Stanley Hoskins, to leave his RV park because the neighbors were giving me such a problem. Okay, now here's his statement. This is what he told her. Hey, you didn't tell me you were married to no black man. Oh, it's a big problem with the members of my church, my community, and my mother-in-law. They don't allow that black and white shacking. Now, they're not shacking up, they're married. But even if they were shacking up, what business is it of his to tell them what they can and can't do? He also said, you don't talk like you wouldn't be with no black man. If you would have come across like you were with a black man, we wouldn't have this problem right now.
So let's break all this down. So first off, if it was just one racist guy who's running this RV park, it's a problem and it's discrimination, and you'd have to get the law involved to make sure that there isn't that discrimination. We've passed those laws, right? Thank God. But it'd be less of a problem than the one we have here, because he's referencing the neighbors, the church. Now, he could be lying, but from my sense of reading of the story is that he's not, that others in the community had a problem with this interracial couple.
So they were allegedly told that they could attend the church, but they weren't allowed to be members of the church.
Oh, are you not merciful? It reminds me of a story of another racist we did a couple of years ago who said, no, I don't mind black people. Sometimes I even let them in the house. Once I even let them use my bathroom.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think you might mind black people. Okay. So, and don't be that surprised. Remember we did the amazing survey poll done in the 2012 elections in Mississippi and Alabama in the primaries when they asked Republican voters, okay? I believe in one of the states it was 21%, and I think in Mississippi it was 29% of Republican primary voters were against interracial marriage. Not in 1952 or 62, in 2012.
But Cenk,
29% of Republican primary voters.
What I don't understand is why shows like ours continue to like race bait and stuff. You know what
we
I'm
must
saying?
be forcing those guys to think that way and to kick out interracial couples. So for all of you guys who are lucky enough to live in multiracial areas or non-racist areas, even if they're the whitest places you've ever been, and I lived in a community, I grew up in a community that had a lot of different races, and we didn't experience this racism, or if we did, I was oblivious to it, okay? And so it blows my mind to see stories like this.
Look,
but even if it blows your mind, and you're a great guy, and you not only do you not experience this, you've not seen it anywhere in your neck of the woods. There are necks of the woods where it exists.
Where it exists. And look, I think it's amplified when it comes to black and white couples in certain parts of the country. But I think that it would be deceptive to say that other races don't do the same thing, right? Like there are certainly cases, maybe it's not focused on race, maybe it's more focused on nationality, but certain nationalities don't want their children dating outside of their culture. They want them to date within their culture. They want them to marry within their culture. Got to be honest, I experienced it as an Armenian, not by my parents, but definitely by extended family, by other Armenians in the community. You got to stay within your community. Don't date outside. Don't marry outside. But here's what I have to say to that. We live in America, okay? You're immigrating to a country like America where you're going to have diversity. I'm going to marry whoever the fuck I want.
So look, it affects a lot of us. I was going out with a girl whose family was Hindu. I'm agnostic. She was fairly agnostic, okay? But she wouldn't tell her parents because my family was Muslim, right? So like, I didn't care that much. Maybe I should have cared. I don't know, okay? But that exists on a lot of different planes, and I'm glad you brought that up. But it's a little different than saying you can't live here anymore.
Yes.
Because you're not the right race or you're not the right mix of races. And that is a violation of the law, and that's a violation of core American values. And we've got to do something about that. And now there's one other aspect of this that's really troubling. By the way, is the guy definitely doing this? Absolutely. When they asked him about it, They said, well, what if a new interracial couple comes in? He said, no, no, no. I'm closing it down, and that solves the problem. So he's closing down the whole thing, okay, just so that he won't have an interracial couple living there. So obviously he's doing it, right? Otherwise there wouldn't be any problem to, like if you accuse me of it, what are you talking about, right? No, they could anybody can live here, right? He's saying, no, no, I hate it so much, I'm willing to lose money over it.
It's amazing.
So, but the last disturbing part is, Dunahoo then said to the press, my husband ain't no thug, he's a good man. My husband has served his country for 13 years. He's a sergeant in the National Guard.
The fact that she even has to defend her husband like that is disgusting.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Anna. I mean, here's a guy who's, a patriot, served the country for 13 years, and you have to start a sentence with, he isn't a thug. God damn it, look at that, right? And so that winds up, unfortunately, from a woman who's obviously open-hearted and in the middle of an interracial marriage, you put her in a position where she's got to say something like that unfortunately reinforces stereotypes.
Yes.
So the more they act that way, even in responding to them, it reinforces these stereotypes. But look, we got to put it out in the light. We got to shine a light on it and expose it for what it is. Ignoring it and saying, oh, no, reporting on it is the problem, is purposely trying to make sure that nobody talks about it, because it makes you uncomfortable because you know how real it is.
Exactly.